Okay, can you see my screen, my presentation?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Okay, first, before we start with today's lecture, just a quick feedback on, I think one of you once asked me last time about the work breakdown structure that we are having, which was having activities. But the notes are saying they should only have deliverables. I've talked to Prof, suggested that I should tell you guys that so the British approach for the work breakdown structure is that it does not have, it has activities on it also. While the one based on only deliverables is the USA approach, just in case, but you need to stick to one, eh? Just for your information. Okay, and in today's lecture, we'll be focusing mainly on float and the criticism for the network methods. Okay, I know in the notes there are a lot of other things that we still need to read on. In addition to that, there will be things like legs and lead and other conventions like finish to start, start to finish, start to start, finish to finish, like that. You need to check on those ones. And also on estimating the workload and the need to have a realistic planning for workload, resource constraints, resource leveling, and the activities. And there's also an activity on slide 176. Yeah, so you can just go through that. I will send this presentation once we are done. I will send this presentation and the link also for the recording for this session. Okay, like I said, in this session, we'll mainly just focus on total float, free float, and then on the criticism of the method. Do you guys perhaps have an idea of what float is?
To be what?
Float.
No, we don't have idea, sir.
Okay, nice man. We'll just take you through quickly. Okay, so in terms of float, there are two types of them. There's total float and there's free float. Okay, when it comes to total float is basically as you can see on the note on the slide, is basically the amount of time an activity can be delayed without affecting the final project completion date. So as you might have noticed in the network diagram, it has a lot of activities. So now the question is, if you were to delay by, let's say, for over how long, many minutes or whatever time duration, how long can you delay a specific activity without delaying the amount of time by which you complete the project? By now, you probably, I'm sure you guys have done the critical path method. On that, you can see that all those activities will have a float of 0, because if you go beyond, if you do that activity longer than the time allocated, it means you're gonna end up affecting the duration of the entire project. So that's where total float comes in. Because remember, again, in terms of your your constraints for the project, it must be done on time. Okay, that's one of the triple constraints that you are having there. So, because sometimes some of the projects are done in phases. Let's say after the first phase, there is another phase continuing from where you are stopping. Let's say since you are doing metallurgy, once the metallurgy guy is done with something, then maybe the instrumentation guy will come in, or mechanical guy, electrical will come in, like that. So if you by any means you delay the project, it means you are affecting the next phase of the project. This is why we need to understand this total float. So basically, the total float, what it gives you basically an indication of delays that would influence the due date. Because sometimes you might have promised, even, let's say, top management, they might actually ask you, by when will this project be completed? Then you promise them like, no, it will just take 3 months. And then let's say 3 months come, you're not done. Remember, they will ask you again that, no, you promised us that this will be done by then. You see, then people will start losing faith in you also. So that's why it's important for you to do that. You usually do this in your planning phase. So it plays a big role. It also plays a role in terms of, let's say when you are ordering things, you need to make sure that you have ordered the things. When you're ordering the things, you need to make sure that the lead time, the time by which you will receive the things, it's on spec. Let's say you are building a plant, and then you have purchased a, let's say a crusher coming from, let's say Australia, somewhere that side, and then it's coming with a ship. And then when it's coming with a ship, you just allocated, let's say 15 days it will get here. But then the ship takes, let's say 3 months or 5 months or 6 weeks. You see, there will be a big disruption in the entire project already, just like that. So you need to be careful with that. So the formula that you see there is for total float. So total float is basically, is calculated based on on the network diagram activities, the things that you're having there on the network diagram. You normally have LF, EF. This is, total float is equal to the last finish, the earliest finish, and the late finish minus the early finish, or it's equal to the late start minus the early start. So this, you normally have them on the activities on the network diagrams on these spots. I think, yeah, like that one is early start and late start. So normally what you can do is this one minus this one, late start minus early start. Same here also. Here you have early finish and late finish. So you can say late finish minus early finish.
Early finish.
Yeah. So even if you don't remember the formula, you can just say the bottom one minus the top one, bottom one minus the top one. Nonetheless, these two must give you, these two equations, they should give you exactly the same answer. Are there any questions so far?
No, sir. No, this is clear so far from my side, sir.
Oh, okay.
Don't have any questions, sir. It's clear, sir, from my side.
Oh, okay. Okay, and the next concept now is the one for free float. Okay, remember a total float we are looking at. We don't want you to. Okay, we don't want you to affect the. Here you might affect the project completion date, the due date of the project itself, entire project. But when it comes to free float, on the other hand, free float is actually not focusing only on the. It's not focusing on the final completion date or the due date of the project, but it's in terms of the activities themselves within the project. So let me just run through this for you quickly. Okay, so what he's saying is free float here is the amount of time an activity can be delayed without delaying the early start of any activity which is immediately succeeding it. What it means is that in the network diagram, remember you have a lot of activities. Ne? This is your activity one. This is your activity two. So now, when you are doing activity one, you don't want to affect the starting date of the next activity. So the question now you are asking yourself is, how long will it take me to complete activity one without, or how long can I delay activity one without affecting the early start date for activity two? The bottom line is you don't want to affect the activities amongst each other, like the first activity and the second activity. By the time you complete the first activity, if there's any delay, sometimes there are unplanned things that might come up. But the question now is, for how many days or for how long can I delay the first activity without affecting the early start date of the next activity? How long is that? Okay, so that's where free float comes in. So free float it's important because it gives you an indication of delays that would influence non-critical activities. So in terms of delays, because you might find yourself, in a situation where there is something, let's say, that you did not consider when you're doing your initial planning, and now you have to squeeze that specific activity, or you need to squeeze that into your plan, into your activities now. But now, when you are doing that, you are actually cutting time from the rest of the activities that you are supposed to be doing. But which means you might end up extending the duration for a specific activity. So by how many hours or for how long can you delay the first activity without affecting the earliest start that you can start the next activity? Because this whole thing has been planned. Otherwise, you will end up affecting everything. It will have like a cascade effect. It will affect activity 1, activity 2, activity 3, like that. All the dates are going to end up changing again. And then the date that you have promised, let's say your manager, that the project will be completed by then, it means you'll never reach it. Okay, so free float is calculated by using this formula. It's basically early start for the second activity. This is early start here. This is the second activity. This is your early start for that second activity minus early finish for the first activity. Early finish for the first activity. Remember now when you are doing you have done the 0 method and the 1 method, right? Can you hear me?
With Prof.
Yes,
Amun.
sir.
You have done them, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes. So for the early activity, you're gonna have to do that
Yes, sir.
now. So okay, if you have done them, why should we have -1 here? Just a simple question. This is mainly done for, this is in terms of the 1 method now, instead of the 0 method, ne? Why do you think you should subtract 1 here in this formula? Because if you compare it with the total float, if you compare it with the total float method, here we don't have -1 here, because we are just subtracting this minus this one minus this one. But here, when you're subtracting early start for the second activity minus early finish for the first activity, you're subtracting 1. This is mainly for the 1 method. Ne? If it's for the 0 method, you don't need to subtract 1. This is because, remember, for the 1 method, when you have to move from this activity to this activity, let's say from here to this one, you normally add 1, isn't it? If you are using a 1 method.
Yes.
Yes. So you need to take that 1 into account. So you remove it, so that it can give you the exact date. Because with the 1 method, you assume that the activity is starting on day 1. So you have 1 here and 1 here. So that's the reason why it's done like that. Okay. So, okay. So now, in terms of things like the other thing I probably did not tell you about, here total float, all the activities on the critical path, they will have 0 of total float. Because it means you cannot delay any of those activities without necessarily delaying the project completion date. It's basically the same as saying, you remember for for the reaction, when you're having a reaction which is happening in chains, and then you will have a limiting reaction. That limiting reaction, if you extend it by any few seconds or few minutes, it means you have extended the entire reaction, isn't it?
Yes, yes, sir.
So it's the concept here. If you extend or if you delay any of those critical activities, it means obviously you have extended the duration of the project. It's as simple as that. So which means we can actually use this total float to determine which activities are on the critical path. And that's what we're going to do now. And we also calculated the free float Okay, so we'll just run through a few exercises. Okay, please go through with me into these exercises that we're gonna run through. I have actually just blended this so you guys can have a good understanding. It's a mixed up. It's like I did not just do it purely theoretical. I wanted you to have a little bit of exercises through when you're doing this also. Okay, so let's run through exercise 1. This is your class activities. So the question is, determine critical path activities for this project by calculating the total float for all the activities. And you should also calculate the free float for the non-critical activity. Okay, here's a table. It's giving you the activities, predecessor, and duration. So again, we'll run through that entire process for coming up with a network diagram.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay. Let's run through this one. Okay, we are gonna come up with a network diagram for this. Remember, we need to come up with a network diagram, and then we're gonna do a backward, a forward pass, and then a backward pass, and then after that, only then you will be able to determine the total float and free float. Otherwise, because you don't have the early start, early finish for all the activities yet here, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Good. So let's run through quickly. Okay. So the first activity is activity A. It does not have a predecessor. Okay. Can we run through with you guys? Okay,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. A with B.
I can put A. Okay. Then
A with B.
B and C.
B down.
Okay.
B and C. A can take A takes B and C.
B and C here.
Yes.
B. Okay, that's fine. And then like that.
And C down.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and then.
And then D is taking B and C, so we can just close with D.
As you put D here, then you have an arrow coming from B and then also from C.
And yes.
Like that.
End.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So start at A, end at D.
At D. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Like this, we have all the activities that for this. This is a sketch for the network diagram that we have. So what we're gonna do is, from this sketch, we're gonna come up with a similar drawing again. Where now we are gonna have early start and early finish, all that. We put it in that format. This is just a sketch to illustrate. Okay. Okay. So this is the legend that we're gonna use. Early start will be here. Late finish, early finish, late finish. Duration and the activity here. Okay. Okay. So it's the same. You can see, and the durations are there. All the activities are there. Okay, it's starting with one. We are using the one method for now, isn't it? Okay, let's run through the one method now. Let's do the forward pass. Okay, help me through the forward pass.
1 plus 10 minus 1.
1 plus 10 minus 1. So it should be?
Yeah, 10.
10.
Yes.
Okay. This 10 will
then we start with 11. 11 there.
Both of them.
11 here and here.
11, both of them.
Okay.
Yeah, yes.
Okay. How you saw this?
At C also 11.
Okay.
Let's
see.
Okay.
Okay, C also, I should put 11. Yes. And then here?
Yeah, so we add those two, minus 1 will give us 20.
Okay. Okay. 11 plus 10, 21.
Yeah, 20.
20.
20.
Okay. How do you move to here?
And the next one is.
Yeah, we take the next one.
21.
20. 21 now. We take 21. 21.
21.
21, the longest one.
Okay, so we put 21 here. Okay.
It's the longest one.
Okay.
30.
30.
30.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, backward pass.
30.
Start to 30.
Yes. 30 plus.
30 plus 10
21.
minus 1. 20.
21, yes. Then after
21,
this,
yes.
21 for both.
Is it 21?
20 for both, sorry.
20 for
20.
Okay, and then 6 plus 1, 15. Okay, and here 20 also you said. Okay. Here. Here. It's 20 minus 10, isn't it?
Yes.
Plus 1.
Plus 1, yes, which is 11.
Okay, and here for the last for the
that one is 14.
10.
10.
10.
That one is 10.
10.
Oh yeah, 10, the lowest.
Yes, correct. 100%. Okay, so now we have created this network diagram now. It's fully packed now. Everything we've done, a backward pass, forward pass, everything. Okay, so now we need to determine now the total float for each and every one of the activities. Okay, remember the total float formula. We said the formula is late finish minus early finish, or
Late finish
start
minus early finish.
start.
Late start minus early start.
Yes, they should give you the same answer. So it's basically this one minus this one, or this one minus this one. Okay, let's run through. How much will you get? What's the total float for activity A? 1
0.
minus 1?
0.
0.
Yes. Okay, let's for B. 15 minus 11?
How was it?
4. It's 4.
4.
Yes, correct. Okay, let's go to the bottom one. See? They're the same.
0.
0.
Okay, and D?
0.
0.
0.
0.
Yeah? Okay. So now we know the total float now. Okay. This,
Why are you laughing, bro?
okay, no, it's fine. Okay, so now we know
It's
that
fine.
we've calculated
Why are you laughing, bro?
we've calculated the total float now. So it means the activities with a total float of 0, it means these activities, we cannot afford to delay them without delaying or extending the due date of the project, which is 30 days, or whatever it is. You understand? So these activities with 0 float cannot be, we cannot afford to extend them, to delay them at all. It will affect the due date. But this activity here,
Okay.
the total float of 4, it means we can actually delay it by, let's say, 4 days, and we will still be able to reach, to finish the project right on time.
Okay. Interesting.
You understand?
Wow.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So
Becoming interesting.
which one is, show me now the critical path on which are the critical activities?
A,
A,
C,
C,
D.
and
A,
A, C, and D. A, C, and D.
C, and which
C,
one? And D.
D.
and D.
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 Excellent. You see, they are all having
Yes.
zero float. We cannot afford to delay any of these activities without, because if you delay any of them, it will affect the due date. Okay. Okay. Now let's do the total float. The free float for the non-critical activity. This is the non-critical activity now. It's the only one there. How do we calculate it? Okay, yes, our critical activities are A, C, D.
What?
Okay, let's. This is just the answer. Like we said, the critical activities is A, C, and D. So I've just put them. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So the free float, like we said, it's free float is calculated by using the formula is equal to early start for the second activity. Remember, now we are dealing with activity B, ne? So the formula is early start for the second activity minus the late finish. The early finish for the critical activity. So it's 21 minus 16.
16 minus 1.
Minus 1. So it's going to give you 4.
4?
Yeah.
4.
You can see that it's the same as the total float, eh?
Yes.
Yes.
So it means we can actually, this specific activity, activity B, we can still delay it by 4, let's say 4 days, without affecting the early start for activity D. We can afford to, you can say, no, today I want to rest a bit. I want my guys, let's say if you're working on a project with the guys, you say, no, the guys look tired today. They can rest for a day, you see? Because they can rest for a day, then you can proceed again later. it will not affect the completion date for the project. Okay, let's do more of this now. Another exercise. Okay, it's the same thing again. Exercise 2, calculate the total float for the below activities and show the critical path. What is the float, free float for activity F? Okay, it's the same concept.
A.
Okay, let's sketch the network diagram quickly. Activity A, nothing is following activity A.
Start with A.
Okay,
Yes.
then followed by
B and C.
C,
B and C. Okay, B, then C. Okay.
At B we have
D,
D and
D.
Sh. Yeah.
B,
Well,
there should be D here from B. Okay.
yeah. And
then
then
C we have
E and F.
C, E, and F. Okay.
Yeah. And then G we have D and E.
G, E,
and E.
D, E, going to G. Okay. And then
H is F,
And
G.
H.
F, like that. So that's the sketch. So now we have sketched it. So now we can use this is the legend that we're going to use with total float at the top. I'm sure you are familiar with it now. Okay, so it will look something like that. Okay, I filled in the durations already. Okay, we're using the one method. Okay. Okay, let's run through quickly. Let's do a forward pass quickly.
Yes.
3 there on top.
3.
3 on top.
Okay, 3. Yes.
And then 4.
4.
7.
7.
7.
8.
8.
Yes. And then 8 plus 5 minus 1.
12.
Is 12. And then we cannot continue to this. Why can we not continue to this already? To activity G already?
I just want E and F.
We first have to do E.
What?
C and E.
I just want C and we go to
Why
E.
can you not continue to activity G already?
Because we don't know what is the outcome of for E.
Yeah.
You know what the outcome for activity?
E.
E, yes, correct. Okay, so we need to go through this path again. Okay, then come here, it should be 4 still, eh? Okay,
Yes.
2 plus 4 plus 2, 6,
6
minus 1,
5.
5. Okay,
5.
5.
5 plus 1, 6. 6 plus 1, 7, minus 1, 6. So now we have
6.
4 and 6 here. Which one will come here?
13.
Okay, we are putting 12, so the biggest, it's the longest. Then plus 1,
Yeah.
13.
13.
Okay, and the next one, yeah?
16.
13 plus 4.
16. 16.
16.
17 minus 1.
Okay,
16.
okay, and come down here to complete this side. F for activity F. It should be 6 still, eh?
7. 6 plus
7.
2.
Okay, then you have 16 and 7.
So it's 17.
17.
Yes. Then 17 plus 3 minus 1.
19.
19.
Okay. Okay, then you do a backward pass. 19 minus 3 plus 1. 19 minus 3, 16 plus
It's
1.
15.
19 minus 3
15.
is 16.
15. Yeah. Minus 1 is 15.
16. Minus 1 is
How much?
What?
15.
It's 15.
Is it 15?
Oh, 17
19
plus
minus.
1 almost.
Is it plus 1?
Plus 1 almost. So 18 plus 1.
Then it gives you 17.
Oh,
eh?
yeah.
Yeah,
17
17.
years. Plus 1
Okay.
almost.
Just
17.
let me give you a hint here. You see, this activity is the last activity, eh? This activity
should be
is on
the
it must be on the critical path, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
No choice. This activity, the last activity and the starting activity, they don't have a choice. They must be on the critical path, which means
On the critical path.
this, when you're going to do your float,
Yeah, total float.
19 minus 19
0.
must give you 0.
Yeah.
If let's say you are writing a test and then you forgot whether you should minus or add 1 here, you just know that it must give you 0. Then you apply that same rule to all the other activities. Okay, from 17. Okay, when you come to activity B,
17. So 16.
16
There, sir.
yes,
16 down.
16 there.
16 minus 4,
It's 12.
12.
Yeah, plus
Plus
1
one
is
is
13.
13. Okay, then you come up here to D,
12.
Down you
12.
have 16 as well.
or
And how
then
is this thing
12.
going?
12 there.
Okay, 12.
You go to D. D is 12.
12.
okay,
E 12 also.
okay, 12 minus 5, 7 plus 1,
7.
7
8.
plus 1, 8.
8. Okay,
8.
when you move from 8 to here,
7.
7.
7.
7.
Okay, 7 minus 4 is 3 plus 1,
3 plus
3.
1 to
4.
4 there.
4. You could actually see some trends there. Ne? Okay, then you come to this one. This from 13 to here,
12.
12.
12.
12.
Okay, 12 minus 1 is 11 plus 1,
11 plus 1 to 12.
12.
12. Okay. Okay, then you can complete this one before you come to this one. Second, this one.
Complete F, sir.
17. It should be 16 here, isn't it?
16.
16.
Okay, 16 minus 2 is 14.
15.
So 14 plus 1
15.
to 15. 15.
15. Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
between 12 and 15.
15.
11.
14. 11.
Supposed to put
11.
12, ne? Then you subtract 1, it becomes 11.
11.
11.
Okay, 11 minus 2,
This one. 9
9 plus
plus
1,
1,
1
10.
is 10.
10.
10. Okay, now you have 10 and 4. Which one is it?
3.
Okay, you're supposed to put 4 here.
Second, second one.
4 minus 1.
Yeah. 3.
Okay, like we said, ne? Critical activity.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Critical.
now we calculate the total float. Okay, this one minus this one, 0, isn't it?
0.
0.
It doesn't have a choice even.
Mm.
Remember, the starting activity and the last activity, they don't have a choice, those guys. They must be on the.
IRM.
Okay.
0.
Okay,
There
for
was one
activity.
subject 0.
0.
0.
Okay, see.
0.
0, 0, 0. And this one has 6.
6. 6.
Okay, D,
0.
0.
E,
0.
0.
okay, F,
Oh, 6, sorry.
That's one
4.
has
Eh?
9.
how much?
9.
9.
9.
Okay,
9.
okay, activity G,
0.
0.
okay, and then H does not have a choice, 0. So which one is our critical path? What are which activities are on the critical path?
A,
B.
Yes,
B,
E.
yes.
D, G, H,
So that's our critical path.
H.
Like you said,
Yes, sir.
activities are A, B, D, G, and H. Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
Yes.
So now let's determine what is the free float for activity F. Where is activity F? Is this one. Okay, activity F. How do you
So
calculate that?
it's 70 minus 7.
Yes.
7.
So it's
Minus?
10.
Okay, minus what again?
Minus 1 is 9,
1.
yeah.
Minus 1 is
9.
Exactly. Excellent. You see? Very simple. So all these activities that you see here, C, E, F, we can actually delay them by almost these same days. You can say 9 days here, 6 days here, 6 days here. You can actually choose to manipulate them like that. But these ones on the critical path, you cannot afford to touch them. Okay. Okay. The minutes are about to get finished, eh? Or 45 minutes, 40 minutes.
40 minutes.
We'll need to log in or again because it will log us out again. I don't want us. Okay, when we come back again, we're gonna go to the third exercise.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but do you guys perhaps have any question so far?
No, it's clear, sir.
It's very clear, sir. We're enjoying it, sir.
Is it? Okay, no, I'm glad to hear that.
For next person.
Okay. Okay, I've made this session a bit, I just focused mainly on float and the criticism. So I try to keep it, I don't want to make it too long. Okay. What do you normally do? Do you
We must finish
log
that with the
out?
exam, sir.
Yeah?
Log out and you take a break.
Okay. Okay, how many minutes break?
Or let's make it maybe